It's Monday, and welcome to It's Your Life, Own It, Motivational Moments with Marissa and the Own It family. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. We are focusing on stress management. Each member that I'm getting ready to bring and take center stage with me this morning is a member of our contributing writers staff on in Own It magazine. And taking center stage and owning it with me this morning is Jeff Berger. Jeff Berger, say
Hi,
hello to the
Marissa. How are you?
people. Good.
Hello from
Nathaniel Ross is in the house.
Hello, hello. How's everyone?
And we have our new contributing writer, Teresa Palmer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you guys are here with us to motivate the people this morning. We'll do a round table. Jeff, say hello to the people. We're talking about stress management all month long here on the Own It platform.
Absolutely. So thanks, Marissa, for having me today. I am Jeff Berger. I live in Southwest Florida. I'm a certified holistic wellness coach. I am all about living in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Gut health is very, very important to me. And I talk about physical, mental, and financial wellness from a holistic perspective. Thanks.
Yes. And Nathaniel Ross is up with us.
Yes, and I am a certified holistic empowerment coach, and my practice is focused around spirituality, health, family, relationships, financial, community, and education, and striking a balance in all of those areas.
Teresa, go ahead, share.
Hi, I'm Teresa, and I am a holistic cardiology nurse practitioner, and I've been in practice for many years. Over the past 23 years, I've been doing a holistic approach to cardiology and what I call living from your heart. I'm a nurse that connects people to their hearts, and in doing so, our heart is our greatest ally against stress. Most people don't know this because when you look at a lot of the literature, especially medical literature about the heart, it paints a picture of the heart as something that can get stressed, can get damaged. We use words like heart disease, we use words like heart failure, and I approach the heart from the perspective that our heart is our greatest ally and our superpower. So if we could connect to our heart, we could connect to all these benefits that the heart has, everything from our inner knowing, self-love, intuition, stress management. It's our greatest stress reliever.
Yeah, because where does really, if you think about it, where does stress come from? Where does that stress start? Anyone want to talk about that? Because when we think about a person, and I always like to do my research. So one of the top things is finding out where that stress is coming from. And we talked about it, each one of us individually with one-on-one conversations, talk about the importance of knowing thyself, right? Know yourself. And one of the top three things they said was find out what makes you tick. Eat. They talk about eating is important because eating affects the mood and mind. We don't even realize that when we eat healthy, we feel good. Our body feels good. We feel energetic. We may give over to the desire to eat something that's really, really good and eat. But then afterwards, we feel the guilt, the bad. So we don't even talk about how that's a part of stress. And then getting exercise and getting your body moving. We don't focus on that as part of our stress, where stress comes from too. And so when we speak about the holistic approach, when we talk about the heart, when we talk about money, those are all things that generate that stress. And so, Jeffrey, I would like for you to chime in on that from your perspective.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to address the food aspect of it since I'm all about the microbiome. For those that don't know what the microbiome, it's the gut-brain-heart axis, which I believe is a science that's disrupting the health and wellness industry. And in my ebook called How to Eliminate Stress Without Our X's, I do talk about the foods that we're eating, especially things with trans fats, sodium nitrate, MSG, artificial food coloring, high fructose corn syrup, and aspartame. And the research that I've done is every single one of these things attribute to stress, anxiety, and depression. So there's some kind of chemical component that triggers the gut, triggers the brain, triggers the heart to, to those, aspects of depression, anxiety, and stress. And stress is the number one killer today. Everybody's stressed out in some form or fashion. And for me, my journey was I was a reactor to stress. I always reacted. But once I learned about this and got my gut health cleaned up and learned about what is really in our foods today, which these scientists, these food companies know that it's destroying people's lives from a physical and a mental perspective. Rather than reacting, I evaluate the stress and learn from that, taking away with why am I stressed out? What am I supposed to learn from it? And what am I supposed to take away from it? So, food is a key contributor to because that's what everybody eats. They eat every single day. So, that is a major contributor to our stress today in life. And what I'll do is I'll also after this I'll throw in my link to the ebook. You can get it for free and look at what I talk about in regards to stress, the pharmaceutical industry, the chemicals, the pharmaceuticals that are out there, Zoloft, so forth and so on. And for me, it's all about ashwagandha, kana, rafuma, magnolia bark, all plant-based protocols that help with stress, rather than these pharmaceutical chemicals that are destroying our bodies. So I'll share that as well.
And I can tell you, as one who prefers the green leafy stuff, you feel the difference.
Yes.
I cannot speak from not knowing myself physically. And I know the difference between eating something that weighs me down and when I eat, all that's green, healthy, and the way that I eat, I guess the average person may not want to eat, but I feel good. So anyway, I'm going to bring in Dr. Reed, but Nathaniel, you're up, and then Teresa. Nathaniel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted. Okay.
No, I was bringing her in.
Okay. All right. So let me just chime in that everything in life, there's a positive side and there's a negative side to it. So we need to know that no matter what we're dealing with, there's a flip of the coin, whether it's going to be positive or negative. And as far as stress go, we need stress in our life. So when you hear people talking about stress, it's not a negative thing that you don't want stress in your life. You have to have stress in your life. You just have to have the right type of stress in your life. Then there's the negative stresses, which we want to release and we want to avoid by the types of foods that we eat, by exercising, etc. And as Jeff was talking about the different foods and what's happening in the food industry out there, it's a real simple process for most folks. Look, if you eat food that is alive, you're going to feel energetic and you're going to feel good. If you eat food that's dead, you're going to feel the negativity and you're going to feel the weight of that food. And usually what we call that, the itis. It puts you to sleep after you eat it. So it's not rocket science. Think about what you're eating and how it's impacting and reflect on how it's impacting your body. And there's an app out there. I think the pronunciation is Yuka. It's YUKA app. And you can use that and you can scan the codes as you're shopping. And it will tell you if the food is good, bad, or neutral. And you're going to be surprised at the number of things in the grocery store that says it's healthy, but when you do that scan, it's going to tell you no, it's not healthy, and it's going to list all the reasons why it's not. So that's my 2 cents.
And your body speaks to you. Your body is going to
Absolutely.
tell you. Yeah, your body is going to tell you. Teresa, you're up. Speak from the heart.
Yeah, I'm going to flip this around a little bit. I agree that nutrition, exercise, all these things are important. But what hasn't been paid much attention to is our inner landscape. And by that, I mean things that we can do from the inside of ourselves that could help us. And if you're looking at stress, stress starts from within. There's the gut-brain heart connection. And one way to help with that is how we live. And what I call living from the heart, I learned many years ago. I did a medical mission to Romania. And the children in Romania started their day with a mantra. And that mantra was, every cell in my body is happy because I'm at peace within my heart. And when you have that inner peace, and when you live with compassion for yourself and others, gratitude for yourself and others, being resilient and practicing forgiveness, you change the inner landscape from that negativity. You reduce inflammation, which in the gut, you reduce the inflammation. And really, when you start from within, that's the easiest place to start. For 20, almost 30 years, I've had patients that when they start with the external, the diet, the exercise, even meditation, yoga, which meditation and yoga, to me, meditation is the gold standard for health, and so is yoga. But you have to change your own beliefs, your own perceptions, and what you're doing internally. And that's something where I think at least Western medicine has missed the mark for all these years, that we like to treat the symptoms instead of getting to the core or the heart of the problem. So if you could start within yourself and you could start these practices, and then you'll find that diet, exercise, they work better because you're not fighting it from inside yourself. It becomes complementary. And I wrote a book. I'll hold it up. I don't know if people can see it. It's called Heal Your Heart from Within. And what it's all about is things that we could do for ourselves. And truthfully, they don't cost anything. All you pay for is the book, or even just the education that I give around it, and a lot of it for free. And you could be on your way to stress management, because our heart is our greatest ally against stress, because our heart, like the gut, connects directly to the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is our parasympathetic nervous system, which is inner peace and calm. So I always tell people, you can change yourself. It's easier than changing your environment. And when you're at peace with yourself, you're automatically reducing the stress. So when you do these other modalities, they can work better.
Yeah, yeah. At the top of the list, it said, know yourself. That was the number one thing, is to know yourself. And it did talk about positive affirmations, is really speaking into yourself, because as the head goes, so does the body. So mentally, how you're thinking and how in your core convictions, because that's the thing. It's like you get into the temptation of to eat, or the temptation of to buy. So when we're talking about, just, maintaining the body as well as the finances and things like that, where stressors draw, that is where it starts. It starts making that first decision. And then just being, having full conviction of your own moral compass. What are you, and knowing yourself. I don't think that a lot of people take the time to have their own core values, and to have them identified, not to have them in an abstract and from a feeling mode, but really structure. What are your core values and your convictions, and then aligning them with what you do. I wanted to step back to what Nathaniel said and kind of dive into that a little deeper too with you guys. Is that stress is really good in the sense that it has a positive, because it is a driver, right? When you're stressed, it's trying anything new. It's starting a new job, starting a new business. Public speaking is one of the number one stressors, and it's recorded as being the number one stressor, even more so than people being afraid to die. They're afraid to speak publicly. Those are good stressors because they cause us to stretch and develop ourselves, and to elevate, to go and do the things that we really love to do and want to do. So that was a good point to bring up. In regards to that, and moving forward, I want you guys to go into your programs and what it is that, how can people work with you directly and help you, like you said, Teresa, in regards to your book and the education behind the book, Jeffrey, what you do with your business, and also Nathaniel, you have some groups that people can work with you individually on. And so Before we do that, I do want to bring Dr. Reed is coming in, and she's coming in from Hawaii. So it's kind of like 4 in the morning for her. So I want to kind of bring her back in and let her get a chance to say hello to the folks. Dr. Reed, are you good?
I'm good.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. It's 4:17 a.m. my time.
Wow.
So we're talking about stress management. And we wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of chime in on stress management. I know you had made some comments in the back. Get a chance to share with us about what your insight is on stress management.
Well, coming from a position of a naturopath, I kind of resonated with everything that everybody had said. I've been a doctor of naturopathy for the past 19 years, and I wholeheartedly believe that wellness is a spirit, mind, and body job, and in that order: spirit, mind, and body. So if you have a physiological manifestation, it's a symptom that you're spiritually and mentally out of alignment. And if we go back into the stress of that, that's based on emotional triggers from childhood that gets kind of embedded in our cellular memory. And then if you pull in diet into that narrative and you say, well, I'm stressed out and I eat, my diet is reflective of my emotional state, then you're going to eat things that are not going to be good for you, and you will have nutritional problems. And I typed in the system chelation therapy. And what I mean by that is, when you eat food that's not good for you, it deposits and leaves residues of that negative stuff. So if you're eating foods that's high in mercury, high in arsenic, high in cadmium, and all these other toxic elements, it's going to have an impact on your nutritional elements and your body's ability to absorb those nutrients. That malabsorption can also cause emotional problems. So for instance, if you have distress or eustress, good or bad stress, your ability's adaptation to change, and your adrenal gland is constantly engaging, you're going to have a higher sodium ratio in your body, and that's going to make you aggressive. So emotions are also affected by diet, i.e., their macronutrients as they're broken down. So when most people eat food, they're not saying, if I eat this, it's going to have a lot of calcium, it's going to give me a lot of magnesium, it's going to give me all the stuff I need. They're saying, I'm hungry, let me feed my flesh. And so when you do that without being discriminate, or you do that without being conscious of what food brings to your metabolic table, what you're going to do is create a toxic load. And a toxic load can cause all kinds of problems, spiritually, mental, and physical problems. And so how I deal with that toxic load is I look at your biochemistry. I send some hair or fingernails to the lab, and I get a chance to see what's what, right? Are your levels of your macronutrients accurate? Do you have a toxic load? Between the two of them dancing together in your system, how would that affect the ideal diet for you? So one of the things that I'm able to discover is the proper diet based on your biochemistry, based on an assessment, right? And then the proper nutrients to be able to chelate or scrub out those negative those negative toxic elements, so your body can express those good nutrients. So when you do eat, your cells are bumping together. Because like I can't remember who said it, because when I was watching, I couldn't see anything. I just heard voices. I'm thinking, am I in a vortex? But I see your beautiful faces now, right? So when you eat and you get the itis, that's your body saying, I couldn't use anything you gave me, right?
Wow.
I say, when you eat something and your cells bumping together, your gastrointestinal system said, yeah, it went through the whole system. My small intestines got a chance to extract all the good stuff through my villi, and my cells are happy, right? So you can tell what's a good diet for you. If your cells are bumping together and you feel like I got enough energy to share and give and sell, then you're on the right dietary path, even though you eat something that you might not like. Conversely, if you eat something that you like, or other people say that it's healthy for you, and you're not getting that metabolic boost, then it's not healthy for you. So I find a lot of people saying, well, I wake up in the morning and I have my green smoothie, and I do this and I do that. And I'm saying to myself, well, how did you feel afterwards? Well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know how you felt after you ate something that was supposedly healthy, it wasn't healthy for you and you just messed up. So don't keep doing it because society says it's healthy. More times than not, if you eat too many green leafies and stay in that frame and you're not feeling good, you are overloading your thyroid gland with calcium. You will have type 1 insomnia. You won't be able to fall asleep. You'll have dry skin, dry hair. If you're a woman, you'll have heavy cycles. And you will be very reclusive and and not so social. You'll be depressed. So I tried to put as much stuff in as I could just now in those few seconds to kind of capture what everybody else said. I completely concur with what you said, and I added some additional insight.
Very good
Thank you.
insight.
Yes.
That was so interesting. Can I just give people a little rundown? Like we said, there is beneficial stress, but when we're under constant stress, and I think since the events of 2020, we've all been functioning under a post-traumatic stress. And whether or not we really realize it, we've all been stressed. And what I like to go through with my patients and my clients is give you just a little bit of rundown of what stress does on a physical level to the body. When you're under stress, the first thing that happens is your heart beats faster, your blood pressure goes up, blood shunts away from the major organs, including the stomach, and you go into fight or flight. And that's to get away from a situation because now the body and the brain believes that you're in danger. Along with that, you start to secrete cortisol, which at the time is very necessary. It actually has a health enhancing effect at first. And by that, it means it's actually protective to the cells and it boosts immunity. But then what happens is you start to run out of cortisol. And when you start to run out of cortisol, there's something that's called a pregnenolone steal. And pregnenolone is it's like a hormone. Yes, it is a hormone that's essential to brain health and memory. And when you start to steal from that to start making cortisol, then you also start to steal from the sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. So now you're starting to get this hormone dysfunction. At the same time, your body is holding on to every calorie, every ounce of fat because it thinks that you may be starving. And your body and brain doesn't know. It assumes that it's going to be a long time before you get your next meal. So now, even though you're doing all the right things nutritionally and exercising and everything else, you can't lose weight. And the reason you can't lose weight is because your body is holding on to everything, because your body, you become a bear in hibernation. On top of that, your thyroid starts to work harder. So the amount of active thyroid hormone that you have starts pushing faster and faster and faster, which eventually could lead to a dysfunction of the thyroid. You add to that your heart is under pressure, that your arteries are constricted, that now you have inflammation that's leaking out of your gut. If that inflammation goes to your joints, you start to mimic an autoimmune or you develop an autoimmune disease. If it goes to the arteries of the heart, the body sees that as an invasion. The white blood cells come to protect the body. But if you have high cholesterol or plaque in your arteries, that plaque breaks off and now you've had a heart attack. Add to the fact that your pancreas is overworking because in stress, your blood sugar stays elevated to give you quick energy in case, because the body still believes it's under this physical threat. And now you're overworking your pancreas, which a lot of times leads to type 2 diabetes, along with the fact that you're holding on to too many fat cells, you're not burning calories, you're fatigued, and overall, down the road, whether it be 6 months, a year, 10 years, 20 years, physically now you have all these ailments, and it's all because stress was not managed. So I know that may be a lot to take in, it may sound negative, but I think when people hear that, they understand the importance of getting stress under control.
Yeah, and getting to know yourself, really checking in. And as you said before earlier in the conversation, you said it's important for you to get to take the time to know yourself. The simplest way to start is to start with taking the time to know yourself. And like Dr. Reed said, is don't just do stuff to do it. Do stuff to see results. Do stuff to see results. So I want to let our guys chime back in. I know that Nathaniel, you talk to your men in regards to stress managing because she said a lot of things that while Teresa's talking, I'm thinking about the pancreas. So talking about stress management, and we spent all month long last month talking about father's impact and things like that. Um, you talk to you have a men's group, Nathaniel, and they meet and you provide a safe place for them to come and talk about these things because in order for them to do the work that Teresa's talking about doing, speaking from the heart and getting in touch with the heart, and doing the introspective work, they got to have a place where they feel safe enough to conversate and have these discussions.
Yeah, so this is something that we're talking about that everybody needs.
Oh yeah.
But the sad reality of it is that women tend to take care of themselves a lot better than men. So that's why we created the men's group so that we could talk about health issues to break up what's a myth and the stereotypes that are out there so that men start going to the doctors and that they start doing self-care and taking care of themselves and to have a forum where they can discuss whether it's health issues or spiritual issues or financial issues. It's a safe environment. It's because normally when guys get together, tend to talk about news and sports and things that's really not going to make a big difference in life, right? But with this group, we get together once a week for an hour and we talk about spirituality. We talk about health. We talk about the family, the dynamics of the family, and how you're supposed to be showing up in that family and in your friendships. Talk about your individual finances and how that impact you, your family, and the community. So that's what this men's group is all about. And I think you have a commercial teed up there for us. If you want to
Yeah.
run that for us.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Have you been ignoring the warning signs your body is giving you? Do you sometimes feel the need to act like everything is okay and that you don't need help? Are you facing some tough physical and mental health challenges that you just don't know how to face on your own? We created the Men's Empowerment Group as a safe place where men can share their thoughts and challenges while also receiving judgment-free advice from their fellow group members. You no longer have to pretend that everything is okay. It is okay to not be okay. This free forum provides discussions related to financing, health, relationships, and other struggles that men face in their everyday lives. There are 1 hour-long weekly sessions in addition to the open forum, where you can learn from others every Monday at 7 p.m. Please check us out, www.abundancelegacy.org to register.
So for all the men that's out there, log on to the website, register, and come and join us each week. We're just starting up the next session this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. So we look forward to folks joining us.
Awesome. Because they need a place to go and deal with this stress. Because I'm thinking of the diabetes and all of these things. And Teresa, you really, as heavy as it was to hear, those are the realities that need to be discussed. Because when we're sitting down and we're eating, when we're going shopping, when we're doing, we're not like Dr. Reed said, we're not sitting and saying, oh, this is going to work out well for, well with my diet. And I don't know all the fancy words that Dr. Reed used for all the things that these foods and things do to us. However, when you get to know yourself, that's why owning self-awareness leading to self-development, getting better and better, getting educated, getting knowledgeable, understanding. leads us to self-mastery, where we can live a fulfilling life, where we can live a life that's full of joy and peace and balance. But it starts with the introspective work, like Teresa says. Know thyself. Get to know who you are. Get to know what makes you tick and what ticks you off. What are your triggers, and how do you navigate through them successfully to get the results in life that you want? And because we're talking about all of this mental health, and we're talking about all of these, the stress and the trauma that we experienced during COVID and everything like that. But there is a rejuvenation. There is a coming back. There is a solution. And that solution starts with yourself. Get to know and spend time with yourself. Pay attention consciously. I consciously will pay attention to when I'm drinking something. Am I feeling that? And you can feel that to the cellular level. You can, because I feel it. I can feel it in my hands because I am conscious to it. I have consciously awakened my spirit man to pay attention to what's going on in my physical man. And by doing that, we then take more control over our destiny, our day, our decision making. We get control over our emotions, how we respond to different things. That is the part of mastery. That is the part that we want to get the viewers to, those who are seeking it. Get to that point, because Teresa told you it starts here, then it goes there, then it becomes this, that, the other, and then it's a big mess that it is the most difficult thing to come back from. And so that's why this is so important. And we're going to come every Monday. We are here. We're going to continue to talk to you. Then we're going to tell you ways that you can connect with us directly. If you like anything with what you're hearing from anyone on the screen, you can connect with them and you can work with them. Teresa's she got a whole educational program behind the book that she's written. Nathaniel's got a men's group. And Jeff has found that he has scheduled all over in the Only magazine. Click, schedule with him, mind, gut, get that thing together. Dr. Reed is ready to tell you things from the cellular level. We're here to help you to live a fulfilling life. You do not have to stay in your drama and your trauma. You do not have to stay in your current state. There is a process of moving forward. And it all starts with making a commitment to saying, I'm going to get some help. I'm going to get some coaching, some guidance. So as we close out, we're going to start with Jeff, then we're going to go to Nathaniel, Teresa, and Dr. Reed. You're going to close this out. Let the folks know how they can get in touch with you, what you have next, what they can do with you next, and let's launch them on their day.
Okay, thanks, Marissa. Yes, people can get in touch with me at my website, which is jeffreyeberger.biz, and I am on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as Jeffrey E. Berger. I really, I'm focusing from a physical, mental perspective on the microbiome and teaching a form called SENSE, which is supplementation, exercise, nutrition, stress management, and evaluation. And this is something where I'm starting to get people educated on what's really happening in the world today. We are in systems, a medical system, financial systems that are failing us, and they are not out there working in our best interest. They are working in their best interest. And prime example for me was my doctor told me I had to manage my type 2 diabetes with medications and wanted to put me on a 6th medication. Today, I'm off of all medications because I focused on my gut health. And with that, it's all about education. We need to take control of ourselves and step out of our comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because this is where we're going to grow. And with that, I teach people about other or alternative solutions, alternative roads to follow where you can get that. And what I learned is over the decades that we've been destroying our bodies with what's out there that's destroying us, if you start making small changes on a daily basis, your body will react to those amazing changes and will recover relatively quickly. So I'm Jeff Berger, certified holistic wellness coach. I believe we all should be living in abundance and optimum wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And remember this, mental fitness is the new physical health. Thank you.
Mental, mental,
Mental fitness
fitness.
is the new physical health.
Yes, which is wealth.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely. I should add that in at the end.
yes. Because people
Yeah,
come
there
to
you
me
go.
because I specialize and I focus in on getting people financially stable and to develop wealth. But it is so much more than the numbers. It's that spiritual. It's the health that you have to have in place, because without the spirituality and without the health, the numbers don't mean anything. Or without the relationships of the family and the support, the money means absolutely nothing. um, but what I do with our men's group, and I'm focusing on that area because we're kicking that off on Thursday, the next round of that. I'll share this. Men don't know what they're missing. And from a health standpoint, I would tell guys, go in and get your colonoscopies done or whatever. And they frown their face, and there's so many different myths out there. And they're like, I'm not going in the hospital. Nobody's going to be probing me and blah, 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 blah. So I said, okay, let me take a step back from that. And let me introduce you to getting your nails and your hands and your feet done. And we had a group of guys go get their nails and their feet done. And they had to take pictures, video, while they were doing it. And they sent it back, and it was like, wow, they were so. And I said, women have been doing this for many, many, many years. Guys, we've been missing out because of what we think, because of the stereotypes that are out there. We are human bodies. We got to take care of our skin. We got to take care of our bodies. We got to take care of our health, just like women do. So we're using this group to break down that barrier. And we're going to get to that place, Marissa. We're going to get to that place where it's people, where we're dealing with, we got a people problem or people issue. Let's resolve the people issue, right? As opposed to breaking it down into men versus women. But if that's the way we got to go to put that bridge in place to get people to gap over them, then that's what we do. But again, we're doing that on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and anybody can join us. They can follow. The easiest way to follow me is nathanielxross.com. And all of my social media is Nathaniel X Ross, so you can find me out there.
Awesome.
So I'll turn it over to Teresa.
You're up. Let them know how they. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. I appreciate everything that everybody had to say, and I think that stress management, self-love, self-care is just so important from so many different aspects. As I said, I'm a holistic cardiology nurse practitioner. My website is wellbeinggal.com, and it's actually WELLBEINGGAL.com. On social media, on Instagram, I'm at well_being_gal. And my Facebook page is Wellbeing by Teresa. I wish I could get my social media all under one umbrella because it's kind of scattered all over the place there. But besides working in a traditional cardiology practice, I also am developing educational courses for clients and online and one-on-one consultations. So right now I'm kind of a work in progress. My book, Heal Your Heart from Within, is available on Amazon.com, BalboaPress.com, and it goes under my full name, Teresa Ann Palmer. So I believe that everything starts from within us. Mind, body, spirit work together. It's always mind, body, spirit, because the mind affects the body affects the mind, the body affects the spirit affects the mind. You can't separate them. It's always mind, body, spirit. And when you start within and connect to your heart, then you reap all the benefits and can do all the inner work that then translates into awesome and optimal environmental work for things outside of us. So thank you for having me on today.
Awesome, awesome,
You
awesome.
know what?
Dr. Reed, you're up. Share it.
I actually have a request for Dr. Reed. Um, 'Cause as we're talking here, we're talking about self care and self love and all that, and I think there's going to be a new term out there that you're going to start to hear, and that's soul care. We got to take care of our souls. And Dr. Reed, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot or not, but as you do your closeout, would you be willing to share on that?
Yeah. As a doctor of naturopathic medicine for 19 years, I figured out maybe about year number 9 that there was a huge disconnect between spirit, mind, body, and soul. And soul is your mind. When there's a disconnection between what you believe and what you think, you're making head over heart decisions. There is an anomaly in how you view the world. How you view the world is how you interact with your environment. How you interact with your environment is how you perceive what's going on around you, which will in turn create physiological manifestations. So, for instance, if your soul is out of alignment, then when you don't know that your heart disease is because you're angry, when your soul is out of alignment, you don't know that your diabetes is because you don't have enough sweetness in life. When your soul is out of alignment and you have foot problems, podiatry problems, you don't know that you're afraid of moving forward. So there is a connecting point between spirit, mind, body, and soul. And if they're not integrated correctly, you're out of alignment and it will show up physiologically. That's where physiology comes from. I'll never forget the time in 2014, I gave birth to a beautiful little girl on August the 12th, 2014. She was born at 4:10 a.m. and she died at 1 something in the afternoon. My husband would hit me if I forgot the time because that's kind of our connecting points. And I never remember going to the hospital and I'm calling my husband. I said, you have to come get me from the office because I feel like I'm dying. And he's like, you're not dying. I said, yes, I am. I get to the hospital, get an EKG, get a stress test. Everything was fine with my heart. But when I got an echocardiogram, there was this shadow that pulled away from my heart. And the nurse practitioner says, oh, you have a stress cardiomyopathy. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. She says, you know, that's broken heart syndrome. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't connect that part. The soul of me was grieving so deeply that it affected my heart physiologically. And so I did wind up having broken heart syndrome. So when you don't understand how the emotional aspects of your life has a direct impact on your physical, it is extremely difficult to connect with yourself and bring it all in. You have to know where these things are coming from. And that's when your soul comes into play. So if you're not connected with the whys, and this is kind of like metaphysics, if you're not understanding the whys, then you kind of miss the mark, and everything we said just sounds like good information that we can't use. We have to learn as practitioners to bring it all in and add in all the components so a listener can actually go and research those aspects of themselves. I don't think it's enough to just saying go within. You have to go where? Look at what's in your spirit, what's in your mind, what's in your soul, and what you're putting in your body, whether you're eating it, drinking it, rubbing it on your skin, or inhaling it. All of these pieces add to that narrative. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, and the real deal is it's so important to get to know who you are. Stop allowing society to tell you don't connect with your emotions. Stop, sit with yourself. How do you feel? Because your inner man, your instincts, is telling you. Some of this, like Nathaniel hinted towards, in just his body language and his gesture, was like, look, it's simple. Stop listening to everything that is external and quiet yourself and spend some time with you to really know yourself. You can tell yourself the why if you allow yourself to actually feel and explore what went on. We run away so fast from being concerned about being hurt. Being hurt happens. It's a part of life. Once you know that, being rejected, it's going to happen eventually. Know that and appreciate the good and the bad appreciate the good and the bad. Sometimes that's a time for you to know that this was not for you. And it's okay that it was not for you. Something out there is better if you will keep your heart open to something else. And don't get stuck on what you want, but get and start knowing what is right for you. Go ahead, Dr. Reed.
And so that's why not only am I a naturopath, I'm a coach. I'm an author, and I have online courses for women exclusively, helping them do something very specific. The first thing that I help people do is move from panic to empowerment. That's my first book. Move from panic to empowerment, how to stop pain and disease from taking over your life by connecting spirit, mind, and body. It's won numerous awards. You can find it on Amazon. And then I wrote a book for women who are silently suffering from the loss of a child. From panic to empowerment, how to embrace an angel when you expected a baby. Very important books because it addresses the emotional impact of your world that directly has an effect on what's happening to you physically, right? And then the courses that I offer are the Unclock Your Creative Purpose. I believe through a lot of research and working with women for all of these years, thousands of them all over the world, that if you do not establish where you are in life in relationship to where you want to be, and reclaim your power for yourself after you are no longer creating with your womb, then you have to go and investigate what else your life was meant for, right? We get stuck in a time warp of giving our energy away in a position that no longer serves us. And then we live out the rest of our life in certitude, feeling unfulfilled. And Nathaniel, you said something really powerful. You said that women take care of themselves better than men. And actuality, from my work that I've done, they don't. They're just better at hiding that they don't, right? And so there's a lot of hiding that women do. You know, we dress it up with eyelashes and hair and nails and massages, but we don't take care of ourselves because we don't take ourselves internally and emotionally. And the more you give yourself away, the less you have for repair, the less you have for rejuvenation. Women aren't sleeping. They have poor bowel function. And we dress it up. My husband calls it putting lipstick on a pig. Not that I'm calling anybody a pig. It's just like, here's the elephant in the room. There's a problem, but you're putting lipstick on it. That's not addressing the problem. And that's why I advocate for women or anybody to get coaching. Be coachable. You don't know what you don't know, but what you do know at this point is what's causing you all of this dysfunction. There's a gap in information that needs to be filled so you can move on to have your best life. And that's where my practice shines. I give you all of those resources for you to be able to say, okay, this is what I need. Is it coaching? Do you need a hair tissue analysis to understand your biochemistry? Do you need a Zytoscan for me to see what's going on with you emotionally and what botanicals and herbs that you might need without me guessing? Do you need a book to read? Do you need a coaching program, or do you want to sit with an online course and join with the community? I cover all of those bases because I've been doing this so long. You cannot be a practitioner in my mind without giving as many resources as possible, because a person is always, there's always a competitive edge for a person's attention who's seeking. And it's our job as practitioners is to bring that information in a nice bundle so they won't be confused by all of this stuff, right? There's so much stuff out there. We need to be able to say, okay, there's a lot out there. Let me package it in a way that you can digest it and be successful, as opposed to me just being another form of information. So information without application is useless. So I give you the information and I help you apply it through books, courses, online coaching, detoxification, whatever you need. I have at least a handle on it long enough to know what is going to be beneficial. Not all of it. I don't know all of it. In fact, I need all of you. We need each other to spread this message in each of our individual veins. So you can find me at drstephanieyhp.com. And it's easy because my practice is called Your Healing Place. So if you typed in Your Healing Place, you'd find me everywhere. But if you just wanted to know my website, it's Dr. Stephanie YHP.
Awesome. Very good. That's why I'm glad we'll have back again, because we do need everybody. We do need to have different perspectives, because different audience members are going to, attract to different practitioners. Schema, as you said earlier, is a psychology term, and it is how you see the world. And that schema is developed at your very, very early stages of development when you're a child, a baby.
Yep.
And what you see in your household has a direct influence on your schema, how you see the world and how you interact with the world. And so excellent, my God, conversation, that discussion. And I know that a lot of folks are going to watch it on the replay, etc. And I just want to say to you all, thank you so very much, because this is the top of the week. We are motivating our viewers to, listen, this is your life. Own it. It's your life. You own it. And think of it from the bigger perspective and the projecting perspective that you are the CEO. You are the Chief Executive Officer. And it is time for you to start making executive decisions on how you are going to live out the rest of your life, because there's still time to turn this thing around. Right, Nathaniel?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, you guys, you got all of their contact information. Reach out and touch them and take your life back into your hands. Have a blessed week. We're out. Love you.